Hey, Paradigm here and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about Ableton's most underrated effects plugin, which is Utility. By the end of this video I will show you 9 different ways that you can use it to level up your drum and bass mixes. Yeah! That will not fucking do. Right, so 1, mono your low end. So in my drums I've used bass mono, so I've monoed everything that's below 150. So on my 808 bass track, I've popped in another utility here and I have monoed everything 150 and below. But everything from 150 below, mono, nice and tight. Yeah, so doing this basically keeps everything below that frequency centered, avoiding any phase issues and muddy subs. Also, another trick that we can do we're using the utility is, so I'm going to go into my version of Devious Machines Duck, excellent sidechain plugin. I do rate it. I'm going to show you how to do sidechaining with your utility as well, but if you've got a couple of quid, couple of dollars to spend, I highly recommend Devious Machines Duck. So if you notice just here, the waves are opposing each other. So what we can do to counteract that is if we hop back into the kick where I have that monoed, basically invert the left and the right phase signals to flip that the other way around, and now the kick and the sub are playing in phase with each other, which will deliver a much punchier sound. So that's 2 issues in one that I've covered right there. Right, so next is gain staging, which I have shown in another video. Right, so to do your gain staging, basically every single one of your tracks needs a utility. But yeah, so gain staging, you basically want to create yourself like -12 to -6 dB headroom. And you want to do this before like your EQ and compression. And then once you have done your EQ and compression, do it again. You do it at several intervals on your mixing. So you do it at the beginning before you actually do anything with the sound. So your EQ, compression, expansion, erosion, whatever you do to the sound, do it again afterwards, and then so on. And just whatever you change, gain stage. Do another change, gain stage. Do another change, gain stage. Anyway, to the whole point of gain staging, yeah, so a plugin that I like to use for this, which is on Max for Live, is Denpa Noise Player. So the last time I checked, this was actually free, but it's a noise player and it plays your white noise or pink noise. Pink noise is excellent for mixing. So white noise is basically just fills up your spectrum with a flat line going across, whereas pink noise is more, you get more bass coming through, whereas your higher end is lower, and it's just a more balanced signal to mix against. So here, click on your pink noise, your dB, if you keep it at that, because once we balance the noises together, it will already be around -12 dB. So turn this on. Headphone warning. Oh no, I've got shit. There we go. Basically have that playing and then go into each track and with the utility bring down the level until you can just hear your track peeking through over the pink noise. So for example, right, so the way that I go about it as well is I turn off every single one of my tracks, not the groups but the tracks, like so. Turn the noise player on and then activate each track individually. So that's kick done. Now I'm going to go on to snare. and I'll get back to doing the vocals later. But yeah, so turn everything back on, and this should all be balanced. And when we turn on the mixer, you'll notice that there's a big chunk of headroom there for the rest of our mixing. So it's much quieter. And if we go into the mixer view, so yeah, that's how much headroom we've gained now. So 18 decibels headroom. Yeah, which is good. Sweet. So that's how you gain stage. So yeah, from now you will do your EQing, your compression, add on any effects that you want to put in, like your overdrive, your erosion, saturation, etc, etc. And then once you've done all that, do this process again. It's actually real quick. And yeah, you just get like a balanced mix every time. Oh, a tip that I did forget, which I didn't actually show in this, is go onto your master channel and mono the master. So you should always mono the master before doing your gain staging. That way you don't hear the stereo width over you know, the pink noise that you're mixing against to, because otherwise you'll just hear, you know, because the stereo sound, stereo width can be louder, yet not at the same time. It's just, it's perception. Yeah, it's how a sound can be technically louder than another but still sound the same volume, which is something that I'll get into in a whole different video. Anyway, so that's yeah, that's gain staging. Yeah, width control for separation. So obviously, you know, we've got the kick and the sub in mono, whereas, you know, in the sub range, I've got like a bit of a dirty, distorted 808 here. Oh god, I need to turn everything up now that I've done the gain staging. Anyway, yeah, so I've got my 808 with a little bit of buzziness going on in the higher ends. So yeah, on your, you know, your mid-range stuff. So that would be sort of like 150, 200 maybe below. Have that mono. So anything above that to around the 1000, 1500. You want that at about, I don't know, 50 to 100% stereo width. And then everything above, probably 120, 150%. You know, this stops the elements from fighting each other and keeps your low end nice and tight, which is what we want. Right, so yeah, because we're mixing drum and bass loves motion. So yeah, automating the width, you know, that's also another winner. Yeah, on, you know, when you're using a Reese bass, for example, you know, as the Reese is playing, widen out the width. You got your subline and then your mid-range bass, but yeah, your pads and your effects just, you know, have sounds coming from different directions just to keep things interesting. So yeah, your drop, you want that to be nice and narrow. Your breakdown, have that to be a bit wide. And then this you know, creates like a contrast between everything and makes your drops hit harder. Right, so yeah, I showed you how to flip phase on drums. So right, on the drums, rather than using parallel compression, you can do parallel saturation. Mix that in using utility. So what I would do is get your drums, duplicate that. I don't know, saturator. Let's just saturate the absolute bejesus out of this. Right, there we go. So. Right, I'm using digital clip in this situation because I like the way that it's just smashing the hell out of those transients. Right, so duplicate that utility to over here. I'm just going to turn that up. Actually, no, I'll keep that. Yeah, I'll keep that on. So yeah, we are going to reduce that down to absolute 0 and then mix it in until it sounds good. Yeah, so it just gives you that extra bit of weight without, I guess, destroying the dynamics. Yeah, so like I said earlier, you know, I have applied, you know, sidechain with the plugin. Devious Machines Duck, excellent plugin, highly rate it. Give it a go. Alternatively, another use for your sidechain is exactly that. So yeah, sidechaining. So I'm going to turn the kick off. Well, sorry, the sidechain plugin for the kick, I'm turning it off. So now we've got unsidechained kick and sub. It's just farting in my ear. Right, so how to fix that? Again, utility. Who knew? So what we want to do here is, so you want your automation, you want that active, absolutely. Where are we? There we go. And I'm going to get rid of these so I can see the kick and bass together. Right, so zooming in, I've got a kick that is 3 segments long. So I don't know, that looks like it'll duck well, so that'll duck the transients, but now we want to shape it so that it fits in with the rest of the shape. Actually, you know what? I think that's pretty good. Maybe a slight S. No, not there. There, back that way. There we go. I think that works. Press Alt or Option on Mac, and you can adjust the curl of this curve. Yeah, so like I said, we basically want to match this. So I've got this section completely flat, so that's completely flat, just to let the most of the body and the transient just punch through, and then the rest of the tail, that's what I am volume shaping here. That looks good to me. So now that we've done it for one, duplicate it to the next, and then duplicate that across, and there we go. We've just used utility to sidechain the kick from the bass. It is very useful for that, but it literally ducks everything. Whereas, you know, Duck by Devious Machines, I'll keep dropping their name, hopefully get a sponsorship, who knows. So the kick and the bass have now been sidechained together using utility. Very useful. So a way to change your mid and your sides. So you basically grab an audio effect rack, or just grab a multi-band dynamic. What do I always say? It's singular. Multi-band dynamics. Anyway, group that and then duplicate that channel. Yeah, so we are just using we'll do one more as well so it doesn't get too confusing. So one is your sub, and we're going to pop a utility onto the end of that, and we are going to mono because we just want mono. So like I said again, 150 really for your sub, 150 below that is. You just want to change that and the next one up because that's the mid, so you want to go 150 on here. So yeah, so on each one of these, so on the sub I soloed just the sub channel of the multi-band dynamic, which is three bands. So yeah, low, mid, high. So low, soloed, mid, rename that. That has also been soloed. I think 2.5 is maybe a little bit on the high side, sorry, on the low side. So I'm just going to change that to 3 kilohertz. There you go. So yeah, that's your mids, and then your high. So rename that high. But yeah, also 3000 hertz on that as well. So in here you can now add things to each one of these channels. So sub, mono, that's all you want. Mid, I'm going to chuck my utility onto there. So as I said before, you basically want that like 50. And then everything that's high, so same again, utility, crack that on there, and I don't know, 120, that's it. And that'll just widen stuff ever so slightly. Yeah, checking mono compatibility. So sorry, so on the master we put this guy here, and what we want to do is make sure that our sounds sound the same in mono and without mono, because otherwise, you know, if you make your track sounding absolutely awesome, you know, with all this stereo width, but then it gets played on the sound system, you lose all that width, and it can sound really bad. So perfect case in point. Perfect point. Right, so basically this track I made before making this video, and I haven't actually mixed down anything at all, but this is a perfect example of checking your mono and your mono compatibility. So I'm going to turn the vocals back on for now and play this from the beginning. So I'll be A and Bing the mono, and I'll let it play through, and I'm going to enjoy a little bit of breakfast. So you see how much information we lost there? So yeah, there's my track. Like I said, unmixed, just put together this morning. Just a little bit of side chaining for the kick and bass. And then yeah, I did some gain staging to start off the mixing process. So now I'll go through with my EQs, cut out any unwanted frequencies, which I've shown you how to do in a previous video. Do more parallel compression, parallel processing, compression, saturation, which I showed you earlier. Another thing that I really like about Utility is, I personally, you don't have to, but I will always put a utility onto each individual track and use that as a volume control over using the volume control that is on this slider here. Yeah, so that controls this. So rather than using that, I'll have a utility on the actual channel itself. Everything that's on here I will leave at 0 and control everything via a utility on every single channel. So you can invert the phase, you can mono your bass, you can mono your track, you can control the width, you can control the volume, you can control the balance, so left and right speakers, what they're doing. Plus there's still more that you can do, but that I will show you in another video. As usual, like, comment, subscribe. I hope to see you in the next one.